gentlemen, Creative Commons DJ Colin Brown and VJ Celine Simon.
Joey.
Welcome Creative Commons Arab Region Coordinator Donatella De La Rata and Creative Commons Qatar Affiliate Lead Brian Wesolowski. Thank you. Welcome everyone. Sorry for a little bit of the delay. We had some technical difficulties, but they're all fixed now. What a wonderful space for the launch of Creative Commons Qatar. How about that? I'd like to thank our VJ, Celine, and our DJ, Colin. That was a live mix where Celine was mixing videos from different Arab movies and whatnot to the music that Colin was playing. We're going to see more live mixing later in the event so that we can kind of understand what Creative Commons is. First, I'd like to say, again, welcome. Thank you so much for coming. This day has been about 8 months in the works. Back in October of last year, we held an event called Digitally Open. And at that event, we tried to encourage people to share more, be more open, put their work online, and experience the true benefit of the internet when you share and collaborate. After that meeting, we hosted the regional event, the regional meeting for the Arab world for Creative Commons. And at the close of that meeting, Dr. Hassa Al-Jaber, the Secretary General of ICT Qatar, said, "I'd like a chapter of Creative Commons here in Qatar." Well, today that's a reality. Thank you, Dr. Hassa. Creative Commons is really about innovation. It's about sharing. It's about collaboration. It's all about realizing the full potential of the internet, putting your work out there, sharing it with others, and seeing what comes out of it. In the Arab world, there's so many amazing ideas. In Qatar, there's so many amazing ideas. In many ways, if you look around this room, it's almost like an incubation center. We have people from all over the world here. So what better place to collaborate and work together and see what comes from it? To tell you how Creative Commons really works, we have Donatella with us, who heads the Arab region, and she's going to tell us a little bit about how Creative Commons works, some of the great stuff that's going on in the Arab region, and soon she'll be able to highlight a lot of what's going on in Qatar. But Donatella, please.
Thank you. أول شيء مساء الخير جميعا وبدي أشكر الكل على وجودكم اليوم وهلا راح أحكي إنجليزي. So thank you so much for coming tonight. Well, we are happy to be here because I mean Creative Commons is based on the idea of sharing, and I'm very proud to be here because Arab culture, which I love, as I love the Arab language, is, according to me, has got a natural attitude towards sharing. And you here in the Arab world, you have the most beautiful resource ever, which is a youth. Young people here, more than 65% of the population is young, and you have to build on this creativity. Creativity is energy, creativity is future, and Creative Commons is a way to balance the right to of the author to protect his own work, but also to give the community the possibility to access this knowledge. And we know how much is history and past important for us to build the future, and that's why we are in a museum. So we are building on our history, but in order to build innovation on our history, we have to open up our history. So the way I see Creative Commons and the way I discuss about Creative Commons in the Arab world is a balance between this right of the author to be acknowledged as the original author of something and to avoid the copy and paste culture that sometimes is unfortunately widespread everywhere, and also the right of the community to access this knowledge. And the good thing about this is that the community takes and the community gives back, and that's why we love sharing. I will actually leave now the floor to a video that it's called shared culture, just to let you understand better what we mean when we say sharing. تشاركية بالعربي. شكرا. Play the video first.
What does it mean to be human if we don't have a shared culture? And what does a shared culture mean if you can't share it?
It's only in the last 100 or 150 years or so that we've started tightly restricting how that culture gets used.
The internet enabled an infrastructure where anybody could participate without asking permission.
We have all these new technologies that allow people to express themselves, take control of their own creative impulses, but the law is getting in the way.
Creative Commons is designed to save the world from failed sharing. People who actually want to share stuff, who put it up on the web because they want to share it under certain terms.
So we wanted to create a simple way for creators to say to the world, here's the freedom that I want to run with my creative work. Here are the things you're allowed to do.
Can I reproduce it? Can I copy it? Can I put it in my textbook? Can I use that photograph? Can I make a new version of it?
Creative Commons gives tools to creators to make a choice about copyright.
Creative Commons license can cover anything that copyright covers.
Every license says, you need to give me attribution. I created this, give me credit for the work I did.
The basic choices are commercial use or not. Can you make derivative works, versions, adaptations, or not? And do you want me to have to share alike? So if I take your stuff, do I have to offer it to the next person under the same terms?
There's no requirement for you to do anything with your work other than what you want to do. You own the copyright to it. What we've done is given you the right to exercise your copyright in more ways, more simply.
So the idea here is to enable the creative impulses that the technology turns loose and get the law out of the way.
The work of Creative Commons is really about laying the infrastructure groundwork for this new type of culture, a new kind of folk culture.
Somebody from Delhi, somebody from New York, somebody from Singapore
can feel comfortable using a photo that was created and given away by someone in the United States or in China or wherever that the licenses have been extended to,
with their identity being preserved.
Which means that people can actually create new kinds of things, come together and build things.
Mashups that people can do with people's Flickr photos.
And CC Mixter has allowed artists to make music together.
It's really about creativity and connection.
Access and control.
From amateurs who simply, for the love of what they're doing and they want to share it and they want other people to be able to make use of it, to commercial organizations.
In the end, this will have a very successful place in the for-profit economy.
Creative Commons is the bridge to this future. Is you got to move away from thinking about content to thinking about communities. Communities that develop around content, and the sharing that the licenses allow enable these communities to come together.
A physical commons is like a part where anybody can enter equally. A commons with intellectual works is actually much freer.
It really is going to be the pillar for communications between people, cultural exchange.
The space for more speech, more free expression.
And that's the kind of commons we're trying to create.
So you saw the video. I hope you like it. We have some of our people, like Lawrence Lessig, who was actually invited to this country, to Qatar, back in 2006. And that's how we started to talk with one of the institutions which is hosted in this country, but it's an international institution, Al Jazeera, who was actually the first broadcaster who adopted Creative Commons licenses in the world. And they did a wonderful repository called cc.aljazeera.net that is built around the philosophy of Creative Commons that I just tried to explain, which is this idea of taking from the community and giving back to the community. So I'm very happy tonight to welcome here on the stage Waddah Khamfar, who is the Director General of Al Jazeera. Please welcome us.
Thank you very much. Good evening. Assalamu alaikum. In fact, the mission of Creative Commons is part of Al Jazeera spirit. And from the first day that the idea was presented to us, we thought in Al Jazeera that we are in line with this great philosophy and idea and mission. And this is why we immediately we had some kind of consultation with our teams, and we agreed that this is the line that Al Jazeera would like to take. To start, I would like to say, media could be and should be a great gate for knowledge. Sometimes it is locked through copyrights and through many other rights. And sometimes it becomes part of people's innovative and creative quest for future. In Al Jazeera, we have chosen to take the side of the people, not the side of centers of power, not the side of commercialization. We have decided that people's right for knowledge is sacred, and it does guarantee magnificent, tolerant, and great future for humanity. We would like to play that role. It is part of our DNA, and it is part of our mission. While we are speaking today, we are speaking in a moment in history which is great for us in this region. Yes, we have to pay back to the people, those in Tunisia, in Egypt, and in many other Arab countries who have participated in drafting great page in our history through the usage of their mobile phones and the usage of their technology in order to show everyone in the world the great revolution that the Arabs are capable of. Yesterday we have received a videotape or a film that we did broadcast on Al Jazeera through YouTube from Syria. Today we have discovered that the youngster who have filmed that tape was killed. He paid his life for the sake of showing the world what is happening. And in this case, I would like to say, part of the duty of Al Jazeera towards the people, we would like to extend more and more the content that could be made available for people to use it and to develop it and to go ahead with it in order to create this magnificent environment and mission. Al Jazeera will sponsor on the 30th of June until the 2nd of July, in coordination with the Creative Commons, a regional meeting in Tunisia. And I think Tunisia symbolically is important for all of us to support and to regard it on the forefront of creative future that every one of us is thinking of. We are going to sponsor a regional meeting in order to make more awareness about Creative Commons and to support any initiative that people could really have free access to content in order to develop it and in order also to make it available in many other formats. I thank you very much. This is a great moment actually to launch this chapter in Qatar. I think everyone who has participated in this magnificent occasion should be saluted. This is beautiful. Thank you all. And I hope that we are going to celebrate in many other countries in the Arab world to launch more chapters for Creative Commons. And Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Thank you so much. And it's wonderful that you'll be hosting that meeting in Tunis. I'm going to try to convince my boss, who's sitting right in front of me, to let me go to Tunis for that meeting. So Dr. Hassuk, if you could ask Huwaida if I could go to that meeting, I'd appreciate it. Public shame, right? So I'd like to talk a little bit. We're going to show a video shortly about Al Jazeera's Creative Commons repository and how it works, and an artist, actually an author, who has used it to great effect. But first I'd like to talk just a little bit about what we're going to be doing here in Qatar. Al Jazeera obviously is a great model for what can be done with an international organization, but Al Jazeera, as we've said before, Creative Commons is about community. And what we really want to do is build the community here in Qatar. Of course, there's the legal side to Creative Commons, and thankfully a lawyer from Al Jazeera, Mohammed Al Said, who's here somewhere, has agreed to lead up porting of the licenses to Qatar. However, we're starting now. There's unported licenses that we can use, and that's what we're going to be promoting the use of here in Qatar. But let's not focus on the legal tonight. Let's focus on the community. Let's focus on the artists, the scientists, the researchers, the filmmakers, everyone in this room that is a creative. And I know there's a lot of creatives in here, and all of you know there's creatives in here because the slideshow that was going before we started was works done by people from Qatar. So we'll bring that up later, and we'll be bringing all those artists up here. So all you artists who I've talked to and convinced to come here, you're going to be joining me on stage in a little bit so we can all see you. But I just want to recognize that there's a huge community here, a huge community here. What we're going to be doing is having workshops on specific topics so that we can show how Creative Commons is more than just sharing, it's collaborating, it's innovating. We're actually having our very first workshop tomorrow, and it's for visual artists. And one of our artists here, Naima, came from Lebanon to show how she's using Creative Commons in her work to collaborate with artists, not just in Lebanon, but around the region and truly around the world. So she's going to lead that workshop. It's being hosted by Virginia Commonwealth, who's a tremendous partner for us already. The first workshop was so popular, it sold out in it's free, but it booked up in less than 4 hours. So we had to actually add a second workshop, and that will take place on Thursday as well. So it shows that there's a lot of visual artists in Qatar. Beyond this, we're looking to do meetups. We're going to take part in the tweet-ups. If you've been to the tweet-ups, they're a lot of fun. Creative Commons is going to be there a lot, hopefully, Bilal, right? We're going to get out there. We're also going to work with organizations. So as we grow the community, the users, the individuals, we're also going to reach out to organizations. We've had some great meetings with the Qatar Museum Authority, Mataf, and hopefully they'll be able to announce something relatively soon. I was leaning on them to announce something tonight. It did not happen, but we have a lot of museum folks here working on it to make it happen. So there's a little bit more of that guilt. I'm big on this guilt right now. We've also been reaching out to organizations such as Bloomsbury Qatar. We've also reached out to universities and plan to reach out to more universities. We'll be reaching out to researchers, Qatar Science and Technology Park. If you're here, we'd like to talk to you and talk about ways that we can incorporate Creative Commons into the work you're doing. Because the more content we share from Qatar, the more people will know about Qatar, will hear the Arab voice, but the more innovation that will be resulting from here. So that's our goal. Get the content out there, get it out there in a way that it can be discovered, shared, collaborated upon, and I think it will lead to amazing things. So on that, I'm going to show one amazing example, which is how Al Jazeera's Creative Commons repository has led to one amazing work.
My name's Rosie Garthwaite. I work in the newsroom here in Al Jazeera in Doha, in Al Jazeera English. I've written a book called How to Avoid Being Killed in a War Zone, and that book's about safety in the field. When I was looking for ways to promote my book, I looked for film footage that I could use, and I wanted to use Al Jazeera footage, and then discovered this thing called Creative Commons.
My name is Mohammed Nanabai. I'm the head of online for Al Jazeera English. I launched the Al Jazeera Creative Commons repository in 2009. It's one of the first Creative Commons repositories that's been put online by a big broadcaster, public broadcaster.
Creative Commons is like a giant licensing system that allows companies from around the world to upload their own footage using that licensing system so that people like me can use it. So in this case, I'm looking to Al Jazeera and all its brilliant footage to use for my own promotion.
We had initially assumed that our work would mostly be used by other documentary filmmakers. Surprisingly, just hours after we put the repository online, we got emails from Wikipedia editors. So suddenly you had, people who are building this human-generated encyclopedia, this repository of knowledge that everybody uses now as a resource to enhance, enhance knowledge and global knowledge. And I thought it was such a fantastic contribution.
So I'm bringing up the website here, which is cc.aljazeera.net, and I'm actually looking for pictures of people in Egypt protesting, because I want to show some of the journalists that got stuck in the middle of it. I found the thing I want, so all I do is download it, click, and then I can simply bring it into my editing system, which is on my computer, and Bob's your uncle. It's mine to use.
I think within most organizations, there's this culture that it's ours. and reproduce this and we should own it. And usually it gets stuck in an archive and it's never used and seen again. And I think it's just really a philosophical change for us to shift the perception of when we create content, what should happen to that content, that it should be able to live on, it should breathe on, and perhaps we should be enabling the next generation of filmmakers to take that and use it.
The great thing about Al Jazeera licensing its footage to the Creative Commons licensing system is that it's not just for people like me, TV producers, it's actually for anyone, anywhere to use.
So that's one organization that's using Creative Commons, and I'm not going to talk about too many because I really want to focus on the individual artists in Qatar, which is why I need my iPad so I can remember all their names. But first I'd like to highlight one of them. A lot of people, when they think Creative Commons, they think artists, and they should. In a lot of ways, Creative Commons is tailored for artists. Artists create works that force us to look at the world in new ways. Well, Creative Commons is also for researchers and scientists, because a lot of times it's the research and scientists that explain the world to us in new ways. So one organization here in Qatar, which is part of Qatar Foundation, called qscience.com. It's part of Bloomsbury, Qatar, and they are releasing numerous science journals under Creative Commons licenses already. It's a tremendous project. Check it out, qscience.com. We actually have Chris Leonard here. I'm going to start inviting people on stage now, so it'll fill in. So Chris, you're going to be the first one that comes and joins us on stage, our first creative, so come on up here. Now we're going to start, actually I have a great announcement to make tonight. The first Creative Commons Qatar contest. And this is for all you photographers in the room, professional and amateur alike. Here's Chris. Chris, thank you. Someone over here. So, of course you all know Qatar Happening, everyone's favorite event magazine in Qatar. They've agreed to partner with us for a photo contest where we are inviting people to submit their photos that tell you what Qatar is. A photo from Qatar, and then they will judge, and that photo will be on the cover of the September issue. And I'll tell you, the September issue is a coveted issue because it's after we're done with the summer. So everyone's ready to go to events, go to the parties. You want to be on that cover. So this contest is going to launch tomorrow, and I'd like to invite the people from Qatar Happening to come up here, be recognized, join on stage. Sydney, their editor. Jay, I don't know your exact title, but he does everything. Mikey, come on up on stage. So that contest will launch tomorrow on creativecommons.qa, and there'll be more details. We'll be promoting it very actively on Twitter and Facebook, but you can have that cover if you want. It'll be fantastic. Thank you. Now I get to talk about a lot of what the individuals are doing. So all of you have been to the Virgin Megastore and you've seen the books, the Qatar narratives, with the great photographs, the great essays, the poems from Qatar, people telling their stories from here. There's 5 books in the series. We're going to have 2 of them under Creative Commons. The first ones that were already released, there's not much we can do about that. The ones that are upcoming, we can release under Creative Commons, and a lot of the artists are here today and have agreed to do this. Letters from Qatar is part of the Qatar Narrative series. We had some quotes running from great authors who have submitted essays and whatnot. I'm going to read out, oops, I actually skipped ahead. I'm going to read out a few of these. Ruda Al-Naimi, when I call your name, please come up. If I mispronounce it, I apologize. We have Wasim Said, Matthias Krug. They're not coming up. Come up, people, I'm serious. Mariam Ahmed Yusuf, and Omar Aluba. Another part of this series is called Drisha. And Drisha is photos as well as essays. Everyone can clap for those. Yeah, go ahead, that first group, even though they're not here. Drisha is a group of photos, and they're beautiful, absolutely beautiful, along with essays. And we have numerous artists that were in this book that have agreed to have their works released under Creative Commons. So we have Abdullah Rahman Al-Subahi. Please come up. Aju Chris George, or Aju George Chris, mine is wrong. I should read from this. Anfal Al-Kandari, here we go, very good. Mariam Ahmed Yusuf, Matthias Krug again, Nayab Sheikh, Philip Warlaw and Richard McDermott, and Salah Al-Kuleifi. So please, if you're here, let's give them a round of applause. Now, I actually missed a little thing that I meant to do. Another exciting announcement. Please, welcome. Thank you. Thank you. There we go, filling in. I actually skipped ahead a little bit. We also have another great announcement, and some of these same people are involved in it. There's going to be a web TV series that is going to be released under Creative Commons and actually hosted on the Creative Commons Qatar website. So it is actually the Middle East version of The Office. We all know The Office from the American version. The British version came first. I'm partial to the American version. So the name of this series is called Mish Mish. And we actually have a video for the making of Mish Mish. It's all produced here in Qatar, all actors from Qatar. They did casting, they came up with the name through a whole crowdsource, and the person actually leading this project is here, Mohana. She's going to come up, but first let's show the video, and then we'll bring up Mohana.
Hi! Yani, I have butterflies in the stomach.
It's fine, but I'm hearing some scream.
Okay, take your time. Remember, you're a diva. Okay.
Song rolling.
Wouldn't it be fun to write the pilot script? And then I showed it to a couple people and they said that they thought the script was really funny. Then we decided to hold auditions and just kind of see what was out there, and here we are.
¿Dónde está Leroy?
Every word counts. Every single word, okay? Because if it's on the page, it's there for a reason. And if you don't want to say it, then remove it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mish Mish. That's going to be, let me walk this way. That's going to be launching early next month. We'll of course be promoting that very actively, so look for Mish Mish. So I'm going to call up the people. Everyone, cast, come up. Mohana right here, our creator, start filling in here. Carrie Suak, KK Rajesh, Bitex Sudaram, Hanadi Hassan right here, Mohammed Nairuz, Jasmine Al-Ghazar, Salima Al-Ismaili, and Gina Al-Ghazar. So part of the crew is up here. They're going to be celebrities very, very soon. So give them a big round of applause. Okay, what about bloggers? I have a couple bloggers here. Creative Commons works excellent on blogging. You can just apply it right to your blog and all that content can be shared, discovered. Why wouldn't you do it? Blogging is about being open. So I have a couple, and I know there's more bloggers out there that use CC. I found a few. Yasser Khan, I know you're here, so please come up, Yasser. He actually has 2 blogs under CC. I don't know how he does 2 blogs. I can't even do one. We also have everyone's favorite Doha News by Shabina Khatri. I hope she's here. It's a wonderful site. There she is, Shabina. And then we have the one that I have to talk about because it's ICT Qatar's blog. It's under Creative Commons as well from day one. And we have a lot of great writers. So anyone that's written for Digital Qatar, if you're not doing something with AV, come on up here. If you're trying to keep the power on, stay. Photographers. Now, photographers are by far the most active community here in Qatar in terms of usage of Creative Commons. Why is that? Well, there's a lot of photographers here. I don't know why, but this is one of the most active places that uses Flickr in the world. In terms of percentage of population, it is the highest in the world. There are photographers in Qatar. The great thing about Flickr is it makes it really easy to use Creative Commons. The second you upload a picture, you can choose the rights, and Creative Commons licenses are right there, so you can apply it right to your work. So many artists here, so many photographers are doing this. They figured it out. They were doing it before Creative Commons Qatar existed. And here's some photographs from them. This is actually my favorite, and I hope she came tonight. She wasn't sure if she would. Aisha Abdul Razak, because here she is. She is here. Wonderful. She's the first person to comment on Creative Commons Qatar's Facebook page. And she said, I'd like to be a part of this. How do I get my photos under Creative Commons? And we were able to say, this is how you do it. And now she has photos under Creative Commons. And here's some of her great photographs. So thank you so much for being the first person to post on our wall and share your photos with us. So now we have a lot of photographers. And these are really tremendous images. So